Nala, halfway. Oh, chapeau. Oh, okay, yeah, you put it. Oh.
Good morning, honorable members. It is our custom to start with a moment of reflection, prayer, and meditation. I request that we take the next minute to stand up and observe that practice. Thank you, honorable members. You may be seated. I want to start by informing the House that on the request of honorable members, we have made some arrangements for extra security in the House. It has not been our custom to do so because of the provisions that we operate on under the hosting agreement, and also because it is not normally expected that the South African police will enter the chambers of an honorable parliament. And so I would like to request that you bear with us, and for a minute or two, I give the floor to the Sergeant at Arms to explain the arrangements that we have made in consultation with the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here, and also in consultation with the South African Police Service. So, Mr. Akibate, please.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Honorable members, following what happened yesterday, there was a need for a security cluster to urgently meet, review the activities of yesterday, and to find ways and means by which to assist honorable members to conduct proceedings in an orderly and peaceful manner. We therefore considered the resources available to us, the governing statutes in the use of those resources, and what is feasible, and thereafter put in arrangements to stand by should anything that is against the security of the House and the chamber happens, to see how we can best address it, mainly to secure lives and protect property. the South African Police Service are provided to us by the host country agreement, as in the provisions of the host country agreement that specifies that commits the host country to make available to us the services and facilities of the South African Police Service for all our activities. It has been anticipated that plenary sittings will be done in conformity with the rules and procedures of the House and in line with normal parliamentary etiquette. In view of that, the deployment of armed, uniformed police personnel within the chamber will only, and I repeat, only be considered where lives are concerned or actions and activities of a criminal nature are about to happen or are in progress. In such a situation, it will not be advisable to deploy the South African Police Services and scaffolds and tassels among members of parliament on issues that a security cluster considers within the ambit and control of the members of parliament themselves. For that matter, the South African Police Service on standby should any person's life be in danger or a crime is seen to be about to be committed or in progress. There has been a suggestion that why don't we use private security for our own business? We do understand that in all parliaments, they have their own private security. But our security arrangements are regulated by the host country agreement. Secondly, the policies of the South African Police Service do not allow for joint deployment of personnel and facilities of the South African Security Services. Sorry, because of the nature of my work, my phones are always open and I keep getting calls, and I'm sorry for the distraction. As I was saying, the policies of the South African Security Services do not allow for the deployment, joint deployment with private security. And for that matter, we could not, considering that we even have the capacity to engage private security to be co-deployed with the South African Police Service. And this is basically an operational issue so that there can be full accountability for the actions and responsibilities of the South African Police Service. So, honorable members, these are the resources and services available to you. It is our hope that your proceedings will go on smoothly, peacefully, and orderly. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. And so we'll proceed from where we left off yesterday. And I hand over the floor to the ad hoc committee on election of president.
Honorable
members, esteemed colleagues, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Clerk of the Parliament. Let me recall that in accordance with Rule 16.3, the ad hoc committee The ad hoc committee is responsible for organizing and managing the elections of the President of the Pan-African Parliament. That is the sole responsibility of this ad hoc committee. And yesterday we made some progress. As the clerk has just recalled, we ended at a point where he had to outline the voting procedure. Unfortunately, we went through what we went through. We were all here. And we hope, the ad hoc committee hopes that today, at least, we members of parliament are going to conduct ourselves as we should and honor our continent, because we are here. Of course, definitely we are representing our respective countries, but we are here for the people of this continent, Africa. So without any further ado, I will call on the clerk to present to us the procedure for the ballot in accordance with the rules of procedure. Mr. Clerk, you have the floor.
Chairman,
Point of order.
Madam Chairman, before you proceed, before the Secretary General comes to the floor, Madam Chairman, you are very much aware that one of your members in your ad hoc committee is not agreeing with proceeding with these elections because they are illegal and they are not in line with the AU decision. Also, with the letter that our own clerk is in possession of right now. As such, I do not agree with going ahead with these elections unless we observe and we follow what has been written to the clerk of this parliament. I submit.
Point of order, madam.
Il n'y aura pas de débat.
On a point of order, madam.
We're not going to have a debate.
There will be no debates.
No,
Yesterday-
you are not in position to tell us anything.
Yesterday you
You are not in position to tell us anything. You are nothing in this part.
Yesterday
You are not elected to be anything. Don't think you can give us any instruction when. Yes, sir.
You make
The
mistake.
Secretary General,
We are
can you
democratic.
explain
We
on the
discuss
issue
issues.
of
You
that
never
letter,
tell us
please?
that, yeah.
Can you
The
explain
Peace and
to the
Security
plenary
Council.
the issue of the letter?
And Madam Chair, your chairmanship expired yesterday. You are not on the chair today. Your chairmanship expired yesterday.
Point of
Madam
order.
Chair.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Whoa.
Point of order.
Whoa.
Point of order. Point of order, Madam Chair.
On va voter, on en a marre.
Point of order.
Ça veut dire quoi ça? Deux
Point
personnes pour
of
prendre un
order.
vote, ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire quoi?
Point of order. Point of order.
C'est ça, oui. On en a marre. On en a marre. On en a marre. On en a
Point
marre.
of order.
Honorable members,
On en a marre. On en a marre. Asseyez-vous. On va au vote.
Point of order.
Si vous savez que vous n'avez pas d'électorat, soyez conscients, on en a marre. Election.
Mr. Clerk, is it true that you have a letter from AU? Mr. Clerk, is it true that you have a letter from AU?
Election.
If it is true, why don't you tell us about that letter, Mr. Clerk?
Suspended.
Mr. Clerk, Honorable Clerk, do you have a letter from AU? If you have that letter, Mr. Clerk, why don't you tell us about that letter? Honorable Clerk, Mr. Clerk, is it true that you have a letter from AU? If it is true you have that letter, why don't you tell us, Mr. Clerk?
Election.
Mr. Clerk,
Election.
why don't you tell us that you have a letter from AU?
Election.
Mr. Clerk,
Election.
we want to know if you have a letter from AU.
Election.
If you have that letter, why don't you tell us about that letter?
Election.
What is your interest on that letter, Mr. Clerk?
Election.
Mr. Clerk,
Election.
is it true that you have a letter from AU?
Election.
If that is true, Mr. Clerk, why don't you tell us about that letter?
Election.
We have the right, as honorable members, we have the right to have that the information. Why don't you tell us, Mr. Clerk, that you have a letter from AU? Honorable Clerk, I think you hear me clearly. Mr. Clerk, I think you hear me clearly. Tell us about the letter if you have it. You have to tell us about that letter. And now you want the reason why don't you tell us about that letter? If that letter is there in your hands.
Honorable members, can you take
Madam Chair, we want the clerk to read that letter to us. If that letter is there, Mr. Clerk, please, can you read that letter so that we can hear?
members?
What is in that letter, Mr. Clerk?
Clerk is going to read that letter.
Honorable Clerk, please, if you have a letter in your hands from AU, just tell us or read that letter for us, please. Honorable Madam Chair of other committee, can you please instruct the clerk to read the letter? Because we know that the clerk has a letter or has received a letter from AU. So we want to hear from the clerk why clerk doesn't read the letter to us. Mr. Clerk, is it true that you have a letter from AU? If it is true, just read that letter to us. Then this honorable house can decide on that letter. It is not you who can dictate on us, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the letter to us?
You are fired by election.
Why are you withhold that letter, Mr. Clerk? Can you please, Mr. Clerk, read the letter? Because we know that we have a letter from AU.
Nous dénonçons que les gardes-corps de Malema et sud-africains politiciens sont armés dans la salle contre les gens.
This honorable house knows that you have a letter from AU. Why don't you read that letter and you allow this house to decide on that letter, Mr. Clerk?
Nous sommes menacés par les Africains du Sud et les Zimbabwéens.
Honorable Clerk
Nous sommes menacés.
of the park,
Regardez ce qu'ils sont en train de faire.
why don't you read the
Combien de
letter?
jours ils ont refusé et
Honorable
bloqué les
Clerk, we
élections.
know now that you have a letter.
C'est honteux ce qui se passe. Nous
There
dénonçons
is a letter
ce qui
from
se passe.
AU in your possession, Mr.
C'est
Clerk.
honteux,
Why
le
can't you read that
comportement
letter?
des Sud-Africains et des Zimbabwéens.
Police, please.
Mr. Clerk,
Élection, on
Please
veut
call
les
the
élections.
police.
Mr. Clerk,
La
why
police est là,
can't
mais
you
elle ne
read
nous
the
protège
letter to
pas.
us?
Please call
La
the
police
police.
est là, mais la
We
police
know
est
that
avec
we have a
eux.
letter from
Elle ne nous
AU.
protège pas, on est en danger.
Why don't you read that letter, Mr. Clerk?
Élection.
Mr. Clerk,
Élection.
Ce sont des opinions.
Mr. Clerk,
On veut les élections,
I think you were expecting this behavior right now.
On va juste descendre de l'extra.
And you are responsible for
les
this
élections.
chaos, Mr. Clerk.
On veut les élections.
You are putting this house in
L'Afrique du Sud
dispute.
et le Zimbabwe méritent d'être
Mr.
suspendus
Clerk,
du
you are
Parlement
responsible for
panafricain.
what is happening
Parce que
now.
c'est une honte, leur comportement.
Because you
Ils
have
méritent pas,
decided
c'est pas
to
leur
hide
opinion.
the letter.
Ils méritent pas de siéger au sein du
We
Parlement
know that
panafricain.
you have received from AU.
Élection.
Mr. Clerk, we know that you have a letter from AU.
On veut les élections.
Why
On
can't you
veut les
read that letter
élections.
to us?
On veut les élections.
Mr.
On
Clerk,
veut les élections.
are you aware that you are the source of this
On veut les
chaos right now?
élections.
No election.
Please read the letter to us, Mr. Clerk. And this
On
honorable
veut les
house
élections. On veut les
will
élections. On
make
veut
a
les
decision on that
élections.
letter,
On
not
veut les
you.
élections.
And give his
On
opinion.
veut les
We know that
élections.
you have a letter now, Mr. Clerk.
Vous ne méritez
to
pas
read.
de siéger au Parlement panafricain.
Please,
Vous faites honte à Nelson
Mr.
Mandela.
Clerk, write this letter.
Non,
Write the letter that we have received from AU.
t'es pas là.
We want to know
Suspended by AU.
why can't you read the letter to us?
There is no debate.
Because you have a letter from AU.
Clerk is gonna read the letter. The clerk will read the letter.
Yes,
Read
that
the
is what
letter.
we want. That is what we want, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, that is what we want.
Yes, the
We
clerk is
know
gonna
that
read the letter. Take your
has
seat.
received a letter from AU.
Remember, you are
So let him read
You
that
are
letter to us,
reinstated
please.
by the same
Thank
institution.
you. Thank you. Let him to read that letter.
Okay, take your seats. The clerk is gonna read the letter. Take your seats. The clerk is gonna read the letter.
Monsieur le
You are
secrétaire général,
threatening members
veuillez
of the
présenter la
parliament.
procédure
Please
de
take your
vote, s'il vous
seat.
plaît. La lettre dont Malem a fait référence est nulle. Elle est nulle et non effet.
No rotation, no
Elle n'a
election.
aucun effet.
We are not taking no
Elle ne
seats.
représente rien par rapport aux 54 pays de l'UA.
There are three candidates. There are three candidates.
Honorable members,
There are three candidates.
Madam Chair,
honorable
read the
members,
letter without taking our seats. It's none of our business.
honorable
Honorable
members,
ladies, can you take your seats?
may I request you to
We
resume your
can't
seats?
sit. Read the letter without taking our seats.
May I
You
request you
waited
to resume
our
your
time
seats?
last tomorrow.
May I request that you resume your seats?
Read the letter without taking our seats. Read it.
Protégez le secrétaire général.
Monsieur le secrétaire général, s'il
Aucun
vous plaît.
député n'a accès
Prenez
au
la
secrétaire
parole.
général.
Comme-
We have to protect the clerk. We have to protect the clerk. Leave the clerk.
Okay.
And the clerk, please. Yes, you are. Take your seat.
Please take your seats, please. Take your seats.
You mean? What
This is very unethical. It's very unethical. Take your seats.
Go and sit down.
We are human beings. Let's behave like human beings and not like dogs. Even cats and dogs are friends, much more us. Why are we so like this?
With all due
It's a shame
respect I
on you
have for
people.
you,
Look at you.
please take your seat, sir.
Go and sit down, police
With
woman.
all the respect I have for you, please take your seat.
Police, please. Call the police, please. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Please,
Take your
Members.
seats.
let's all be
Resume your
seated.
seats.
and follow the procedures, please. This is not
Honorable
telling
members.
well of us.
Honorable members, I am not ordinarily I do not have a voice in this parliament. But I'm standing here in the absence of a bureau. And if you allow me, I want to give the floor to you for representations that you wish to make.
Read the letter, Mr. Clerk. Read it.
Because there has to be some progress.
Monsieur le secrétaire
There has to
général,
be some
Read the
progress.
letter.
Envoyez les urnes avec tout le nécessaire. On n'a pas besoin de parler. N'ouvrez pas aujourd'hui un débat. Il ne faut pas ouvrir un débat.
vous n'avez pas qualité de distribuer la parole.
Mr. Clerk,
Vous n'avez pas qualité.
we are expecting you to read the letter right now.
Give the floor to Honorable Venani.
We are expecting you to read the letter right now.
Monsieur le secrétaire général, vous n'avez pas qualité.
The letter that we have received from AU,
Distribuer la parole.
we are expecting you to read that letter.
Distribuer la parole.
Then this honorable house will decide.
Monsieur le secrétaire général, vous n'avez pas qualité.
The clerk don't have power to give the what you call it.
Vous n'avez pas qualité de distribuer la parole.
Please resume your seat.
Vous n'avez pas qualité.
What election?
De distribuer la parole.
Mali is suspended by the AU. What election? They are suspended.
Vous n'avez pas qualité.
Now, right now.
Vous n'avez pas qualité de distribuer la parole, monsieur le secrétaire général. Ça ne relève pas de votre mission.
I don't.
Ça ne relève pas de votre mission de distribuer la parole. Monsieur le secrétaire général, c'est une usurpation de titre.
We have a right.
Vous ne pouvez pas distribuer la parole.
No election.
Monsieur le secrétaire général, cela ne relève pas de votre mission. Vous n'êtes pas chargé de distribuer la parole.
You are joking, Mike.
Monsieur le secrétaire général, remettez-vous dans votre ordre.
Please, just a moment.
Vous n'avez pas qualité.
Moment.
Vous
Honorable
n'avez pas
members,
qualité de distribuer la parole.
honorable members, we have to make some kind of progress.
There won't be progress.
If we can't make progress, then we'll have to call off this meeting. But
That's what you want. That's what you want. But it will not happen here. That's what you want. But it will not happen here.
Secrétaire général, il semble que votre vie est dans la main de ces gens-là.
I will call off this session if there is no progress.
Over our dead body,
I
we will
give the
proceed.
floor to Honorable Venani.
Why are you giving him the floor?
Malédiction,
There
malédiction.
shouldn't be any debate. Why are you giving him the floor?
Quand il y a de mauvaises foi, ça se note.
Monsieur le secrétaire général, vous avez
ouvrez
d'abord
le
commencé
débat, monsieur le
par
secrétaire
fabriquer un
général.
cas de
On
Covid
va continuer avec le
pour
débat.
reporter les élections. Maintenant, vous évoquez la
Vous
sécurité.
ouvrez le débat, on
Dans
va
quel
continuer
camp
avec
vous
le
êtes?
débat. If you open the debate, we will continue to talk.
On n'a pas besoin de cette lettre. On ne lit pas la lettre. L'Union africaine ne se limite pas à un conseiller juridique d'une personne. On s'en fout de cette lettre. Regardez le règlement intérieur, ce qu'il dit. Depuis quand vous allez faire fi du règlement intérieur pour aller vous accrocher à une lettre?
Non. S'il y a une communication adressée au Parlement, c'est à travers l'administration parlementaire qui est le secrétariat général.
Cette parlementaire n'existe pas.
S'il y a une note, s'il doit y avoir une note adressée à l'administration parlementaire, l'administration parlementaire est une institution et c'est elle qui doit habiliter à recevoir un courrier officiel, pas à travers un individu. S'il vous plaît. S'il vous plaît. Monsieur le secrétaire
Irrespectueux
général.
de prendre des courriers privés et de venir les lire ici.
Monsieur le secrétaire général.
Voilà.
Comportons-nous Parlons-nous en institution. En institution, c'est vous qui devez recevoir n'importe quel courrier adressé au Parlement. C'est vous, pas un individu. We are institution. It's you. You have to receive all the documents that the Pape have to receive. C'est ça, monsieur le secrétaire général. Monsieur le Clerk, c'est vous qui devez recevoir sur le plan institutionnel toute documentation, tout courrier adressé au Pape.
Honorable Venani.
I have the floor.
Le président d'un caucus fut-il de l'Afrique australe n'a pas le pouvoir de saisir l'Union africaine. Et l'Union africaine ne peut pas s'adresser à un président de caucus. Il faut qu'on soit sérieux.
The ambassador Namira Neng, doctor, the legal counselor and director of the office of the legal counsel.
You are now opening the debate. We don't have a debate in our order of the day. We don't have a debate.
In fact, how authentic is this letter when the letter is not given to all members to go through it?
Can you sit
but
down?
An individual, how authentic will we believe this letter is coming to read? So, hell with you.
Where is from the letter?
He should not read it. Let the
how is some MP have one letter for the Pape? How? Not the administration. How this can be possible?
Who addressed this letter to you?
How this can be possible, Mr. Clerk, that a member get not a correspondence, official correspondence to the Pape? How? Firstly, explain this one to us. Secretary General, we want that you explain this one to us.
What connection do you have with the legal?
How the member have the official letter? That is not official. That is not official. The administration is you. It's you, the administration.
C'est pas vous.
It's supposed to you receive the letter. You, the clerk, is supposed to leave the receive. I can do that myself. We have computer. We can write and get another letter. You have to. It's not legal.
Votre lettre n'est pas légale, monsieur. Votre lettre n'est pas légale.
Secretary General, we are institution. It's you is supposed to receive every correspondence. You.
Are you reading my letter?
Which letter do you want me to read again?
Point of order.
No, if it's my letter,
Point of order.
I will read it.
Yes.
Raise the point that you want to raise.
If it's not your letter, no.
What is your point? What is it that you wanted the floor for?
Point of order.
You have no authority to take the
Letter
floor.
from the OAE, from the African Union.
You should not read the letter.
No, it's not official.
Point of order.
It's not official, that letter.
The ambassador of the African Union, who is the director, the chief legal counsel, and office of the legal counsel and director.
Madam Chair, there is a wrong proceeding going on here.
Monsieur qui parle là? C'est qui?
Reference to your letter.
Il est qui ce monsieur qui parle là?
Who is the letter addressed to?
Monsieur le secrétaire général, vous nous avez dit hier que vous allez vous réunir, que vous allez débattre et qu'on va venir aujourd'hui pour voter. Si vous ne présentez pas une lettre, aucun député ne doit présenter une lettre. Si vous ne faites pas une décision, si vous ne prenez pas une décision, aucun député ne doit prendre une décision.
The reader of the letter is not even familiar with what he is reading. So what kind of letter is this?
Madam Chair,
Secretary, I don't know why you want to drive us, but this is not the right way to go.
You have to make a ruling on this.
This is the secretary who should read it, and we all
There is
listen.
a wrong proceeding going on. We are not going to
Not even okay.
let the Secretary General read the letter. There is a wrong proceeding going on here.
Il a fini
We all have a right. We are paid by our country to come and represent them. If the clerk didn't read the letter, we are not going to accept it.
Honorable Venani,
Monsieur le secrétaire général,
By the wrong
if you are
proceeding.
raising an issue about the letter,
lire sa lettre.
Point of order.
raise the issue. If what you're saying is that I should read the letter, raise that issue.
The letter
But you should not read a letter addressed to somebody else.
Point of order.
I'm reading the letter that is written to the Southern Caucasus CC to you. So I have a right to read that letter. I have a right.
Monsieur le secrétaire général,
You will not read it.
c'est à vous. Mais tu attends la réunion de caucus pour aller lire ça.
Ça, c'est un complot. Un complot.
Nous, on n'a pas besoin
This is not a
C'est une lettre de caucus.
We are not in a southern caucus.
Nous, on n'a pas besoin d'une lettre de caucus.
We are not in a meeting of southern.
On n'a pas besoin d'une lettre de caucus.
Africa Parliament.
Si c'était adressé à tous les députés, on peut comprendre. Mais si c'est adressé à leur caucus, on n'a pas besoin.
You want to divide Africa?
Si c'est adressé à leur caucus, on n'a pas besoin.
You will never read this letter. You will never read it.
Mali is suspended.
Monsieur le secrétaire
No
général,
MP is allowed to read this document on our behalf. Sit down. It's
on
not
n'a
true.
pas besoin de lettre adressée à
Read that document.
Si la lettre est adressée,
Honorable Venani, you may resume your
Sit down. We are not in Southern Caucus.
on n'est pas en réunion de caucus.
Caucus, West African, all of us are equal. We are all African. You will not read that document. Give it to the clerk.
We are not in Southern Caucus
It's
meeting.
not addressed to you. Give it to the
The matter
clerk.
is a plenary matter.
On veut les yeux,
You
on
want
ne
to
veut pas de
tell me
distraction
something?
aujourd'hui.
If
We are all African.
Members.
We are all
Pas de
set to
distraction.
represent our country.
Secretary General, honorable members,
This
we
is
need
what you
order
have
in
been
the
doing here
house.
since the inception.
Can the Secretary General, if it's a
Dehumanizing your
letter
colleagues.
addressed
Vous
to
avez tout
the
utilisé les moyens pour saboter les élections. Vous n'êtes pas honnête. Vous n'êtes pas sincère. Vous avez utilisé tous les moyens pour saboter ces élections-là. Vous êtes pas honnête. Vous n'êtes pas sincère.
Monsieur Malema, revenez à votre place, s'il vous plaît.
Preuve de distraction.
Sécurisez le bureau.
Il ne faut pas nous distraire, on est venu pour voter.
Rejoignez
Il
vos
ne
places,
faut
s'il
pas
vous
nous
plaît.
distraire aujourd'hui jusqu'à la nuit. On est venu pour voter.
Madame la Présidente, sécurisez-vous. Les députés n'ont qu'à rejoindre leur place, s'il vous plaît. Vous n'avez pas le monopole de la vérité et du droit. Retournez à vos places, s'il vous plaît.
Retournez s'il vous plaît à vos places.
Madame,
Présentez votre lettre dans votre caucus.
retournez.
Nous sommes 5 caucus, allez discuter en caucus.
Retournez à leur place.
L'Union africaine n'a pas affaire à un caucus ou à 2 caucus. Il a affaire aux députés du Parlement. Rejoignez votre place.
Rejoignez vos places, s'il vous plaît.
Merde.
Yes, my friend.
You as the administration institution, you will know how they contact the PAP because you know the PAP is institution. Okay? Not somebody will go and write some paper that they say we have a letter. Also, we can make the same letter.
But we said the plenary is sovereign. The plenary decided. What is it?
What? You didn't count the votes. There was no voting. Yes, everybody's watching it.
It's not.
Yeah,
We want election. Democracy, we want election, okay?
No rotation.
Election.
Parce que tu es un peureux. Parce que tu es... C'est pourquoi tu ne veux pas aller aux élections.
No rotation, no vote.
Ne sois pas
You don't believe
Mr.
that
Clerk,
you
can you read the letter, please? Can you read the letter?
The letter, how the letter from? Well, from the letter.
But who's doing it? Is people from outside officers ourselves?
Regarde-moi ces voyous-là. Regarde-moi ces voyous.
To show.
There are issues to be addressed, Janet.
The problem is don't let other people speak.
I don't want to show everything like that, but there are issues that has to be followed, that are peaceful. Let's be peaceful and make sure that people gain their control.
services de sécurité? Où est le service de sécurité? Monsieur le secrétaire général.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Où est le service de sécurité?
Point of order.
Monsieur le secrétaire général.
Point of order.
Where is the letter, Mr. Clerk? Where is the letter?
De sécurité.
Where is the letter, Mr. Clerk? Please.
Point of order.
Rejoignez vos places. Chers collègues députés, rejoignez vos places.
Point of order.
Non, il n'y a pas de point de order.
Non, point of order.
Laissez tomber ça, va.
Madam Clerk, point of order.
Non.
Où il est même point de order? Il n'est pas gagné.
Madam Chair, point of order, mais.
Il n'y a pas ça aujourd'hui.
Madam Chair, point of order. Madam Chair of other committee, point of order.
Mr. Clerk, please read the letter, please. Read it. Why don't you panicking? Why you are panicking for reading the letter? Don't panic. Read the letter.
Votre lettre n'a pas de valeur juridique, ça n'a aucune valeur. Ça concerne votre caucus. On avance. Amenez les urnes. Apportez-nous les urnes, on veut voter.
Can he go on the Secretary General? Let him read his letter.
Why are you still panicking? Don't panic. Read the letter loudly.
Trop de distractions. Passons au vote. Le secrétaire général doit s'assumer.
Leave that podium. Leave that podium.
Malema, go and sit down.
Honorable Malema and the
Be shameful to do that.
Leave the podium.
Go and sit down. Be too civilized to act in that manner. This is not good of you. It is not telling well of you.
Sit down.
As the Malema we used to hear in South Africa. If you are that Malema, then I'm sorry.
We are disappointed in the honorable member from Zimbabwe. Go and resume your seat and stop the interruption in the parliament. Stop causing chaos in the house. Honorable Malema and the one from Zimbabwe, go and resume your seat. Barbara, you have to behave. Madam from South Africa, stop. A host country never behave like this to your guests. Leave that podium, Honorable Malema. We are disappointed. Please talk to your guys. We are your guests.
Malema, go and sit down. Be safe to do this.
No rotation.
It's a shame.
No election.
It's a shame.
Tout le monde a sa place. La récréation est terminée.
Country to behave like this.
La récréation est terminée.
Rotation.
We all came from a country.
No
We all
rotation.
slept in a house. But we just came here to serve our country.
Rotation.
So let the host country stop behaving like this. We are disappointed.
Rotation.
We are disappointed in your behavior.
Rotation.
Rotation.
AU decision.
Don't tarnish the image of EU. This is your decision, not AU decision. This is your decision, not AU decision.
Rotation.
It's your decision, not AU decision. You never talk about this rotation since the inception.
Mr. Clerk, please
when
read
you
the
lose
letter.
confidence in yourself, you started talking about
Why
rotation.
are you hiding the letter? Read it.
Since the inception, you never talk about the rotation. When you lose confidence in yourself, you start talking about it. Why the nomination in the first place? If you are in for the rotation, why the nomination in the first place?
She is right.
If you are in for the rotation, why the nomination in the first place? Why do you ask Kokosis to select their
That
candidate?
is our right to. It is our right to do whatever we want. It is our right to. If
you are in for
injustice
the rotation,
becomes
you
law,
will not nominate the candidate.
resistance becomes duty.
You will have select the potential one.
If injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. We have a duty to resist.
Yeah, you resist.
If you are
and
in
we
for
see
the
the end of
rotation,
that.
you will not
Your
have
injustice
Let's
is
see the end of that.
nomination.
If
The
the
Africans
resistance
will
will be
represent
a full one,
monopoly.
we'll see.
If you resist, we are going to resist as well.
You don't have the monopoly of justice.
Yes.
You don't have the monopoly of
You
domination.
lack the monopoly of
You don't have the
justice.
monopoly of domination.
You lack the
You will
monopoly
not
of
be
justice.
dominated no more.
You lack the
Fair
monopoly
play
of
at top.
justice.
Fair play.
Africa, we
Treating your fellow Africans like this.
It's all ours.
different justice. The justice is universal.
Why don't you have a problem?
No. We will go somewhere else, not here.
Let's relocate and go to somewhere
We will
else.
go
not South
somewhere
Africa.
else.
No rotation, no election.
Let's relocate this parliament to another African country.
No rotation, no election. No rotation, no election. No rotation, no election.
Oh my God. What is he doing here?
No rotation, no election.
Oh my God.
No rotation, no election.
You put this house in fire. What are you doing here? You put the house in fire. You are the cause of everything.
Why are you here?
On descend tous ici. Tout le monde descend. Et vous nous laissez, nous, on se bouscule. Vous gérez le reste. C'est important.
Kii nu mu tudd Brass moo nekkoon
Start vice president.
waaw mooy naar bi moo nekk nii léegi nekkatul
léegi lu mu fee
No election will take place here. What about the principle of rotation?
Honorable members. Honorable members.
Honorable Malema.
Hey, read the letter, Mr. Clerk. Read it. Read the letter. Then the House will decide. Read the letter.
Only South Africa and Zimbabwe are behaving like this. We are disappointed.
Honorable members.
Policiers yi la ñu jëlee. Fii lañ war a génn sax. Ñu ngi fële. Dëkk bii lañ war a génne suñu lii bi ñu relocé kër dem koy feneen. Parce que ñi dañoo won ne ñoom ñoo moom lu nekk ñoom ñoo lu nekk. Ñu ne foog lii ñëw seen dëkk ñii ñooy lan. Lii lay wane ñoom problème bi yëpp ñoom la ak Zimbabwe.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, honorable members, can I have your attention?
Please. Please take a seat. Rejoignez vos places, s'il vous plaît. Les députés n'ont qu'à rejoindre leur place, s'il vous plaît.
Can I please have your attention?
Les députés n'ont qu'à rejoindre leur place, s'il vous plaît.
There is an announcement. Take your seats.
S'il vous plaît.
Take your seats, honorable
Les députés n'ont qu'à rejoindre leur place, s'il vous plaît.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, the Secretariat cannot conduct an election in the atmosphere that we have in the House at the moment. There can be no election in this atmosphere. Please lend me your ears. I am accordingly suspending this session to give you time to cool down, and at an appropriate time, we can come back when tempers are
Monsieur le Secrétaire,
and then we proceed. This session is suspended.
One night.
Madame la Présidente, prenez acte de cette violation.
That's what they want, but they will never get what they want also. Let's see what will happen.
Et le même comportement a suivi. Il faut maintenant une mesure